It's time for our SEFQ Sunday Sit Down. Find all of your financial solutions at SEFQ.com. And this week we get to hang out with one of our most popular guests, Rob. She's the mental skills coach for the Philadelphia Phillies. She's the star of Mental Sweat Monday. She gets us going with the power of positive thinking all the time. Please welcome Hannah Huesman to Sunday Sports Buzz. And Hannah, thanks for coming back.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me back.
We're psyched to have you. We've been doing a contest, so I'm going to throw you right on the spot here. We've been having a contest here. We're giving away some travel mugs, and we want to know people's favorite halftime performer. Do you have a favorite halftime performer for the Super Bowl?
I'm going to have to say Beyonce.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good one. We've had a lot of people say that. So
yeah, without a doubt, I'm going to have to say that one.
Okay, that's perfect. So how are you? You've got to be like really busy now getting set to start spring training.
Yeah, we're good. We're about a week away. I ship off to Clearwater on Saturday, so 6 days from now, and then it's 45 days straight in Clearwater. So we're just preparing for that and planning for that and getting ready to do all that, in a COVID world. So it's a lot, but it's really exciting. I've been home almost a year now because we got sent home about halfway through spring training last year. So really excited to get back into it, to be honest. But it's crazy.
So as the mental skills coach, we saw a lot of coaches that had to do things remotely. So from what you're saying, you had to as well. Is spring training normally, under normal conditions, the time of year that you get to spend the most one-on-one time with the players?
So yes and no, but usually because during spring training we have big league spring training and minor league spring training. So Our goal is to kind of just check in with every single player. Whereas during the season it's more focused on whatever specific team we're at, because we travel throughout the entire organization.
Right.
So it's a lot of group workshops. That's actually one of the main focuses during spring training is getting as many touches as we can, because everybody's all over the place in a really small area. And so it's actually challenging to get one-on-one. But we try to meet with every player at least once during spring training and then just hammer home the group workshops and themes of the year and stuff like that.
How many coaches and staff members do you spend time with trying to maybe put down the structure of what you're trying to do?
Yeah, quite a bit. It's incredibly important because, if you get the players to buy in, but then you have a coach who isn't bought in, and then that player and that coach are interacting way more than we are interacting, because the coach is there every day and we're kind of traveling and here and there. If the coach doesn't buy into what we're doing, it's going to be hard for the player to follow that. So actually one of my things I always go to is culture first, then coaches, and then players. Because if you have the coaches backing us, the players are going to fall right into that belief system of, okay, coaches value mental performance, the culture of the organization values mental performance. That means we should value mental performance. So the coaches are vital to our success for sure.
So are there differences how you maybe help a pitcher than you would a position player or a hitter?
Yeah, I think every player is different, but, the skills and strategies and stuff that we get down to are very similar. It's just, catering it towards whatever that person's need is. You could have two pitchers who are, completely opposite on how they approach the game mentally. And so just because, one way of thinking or motivating or, confidence building or resilience building works for this one player, it may not work for the other pitcher, right? And so that's the funnest and hardest part of my job is, there's no cookie-cutter approach to go be confident, right? Everybody has different ways that they find their sources of confidence. So it's our job to figure out what each guy needs and then help them to pull that out when they need it most, which is, typically under high pressure, high-stress situations.
This is Sunday Sports Buzz and the SEFQ Sunday Sit Down, and we are hanging out with Philadelphia Phillies mental skill coach and our friend Hannah Huesman. And if you want to stay motivated and positive, you have to follow Hannah on Instagram and Twitter because, Hannah, Mental Sweat Monday it's a requirement now. Rob and I are into it. We pass it on to as many people as we possibly can. So we're trying to make sure that everybody stays with the power of positive thinking.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, every Monday on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever your jam is, it's a 1-minute video on how you can work on your mental performance skills. Because we all know the physical sweats we need to be breaking every day and staying healthy and all that, but are we taking care of ourselves mentally and breaking that mental sweat every day? So check it out. I like them, but I'm biased.
Well, we like
So
them,
are we.
definitely. Hey, so all right, you just said it, and I was going to ask you about this. We spend a half hour a week, or a half hour a day, a half hour a week. Some of us a half hour a week working on working out. But if we spend a half hour a day, and I'm on the elliptical, dying and not wanting to do it, but how much time should we be spending on the mental aspects of our life?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I get it. We're busy. We don't have time for a lot of things. But if you value it, you'll make time. I'm a firm believer in that. But, I mean, 5 minutes a day, like 5 minutes a day. Maybe it starts with 1 minute a day of practicing mindfulness, or just like, hey, before I start my day, before I hop on this call, before I send this email, let me set my timer on my phone for 1 minute and just like, how am I doing? Like, instead of go, and got to do this, got to do that, checking things off the list and not stopping, it's like we don't know how to act just with our own thoughts and just being with ourselves, like, right? Especially now, right? Technology, phones, computers, Zooms, everything just shoved in our face constantly. It's like, when do you just stop and think about how you're actually doing and what's going on in your head and what's on and what's off and figuring that out? So, I mean, start small. But I think the real benefit comes when you do this every single day. And then even if you start at 1 minute a day, then you get to 5 minutes a day. The next thing you know, it's a common practice that you're spending 30 minutes in the morning or in midday or at night, whatever works for you, right? You kind of got to experiment and figure out what works best, but it becomes part of your daily practice, just like you're reading or you're working out or downtime with family or whatever it is. It becomes a necessity because that check-in is what keeps you sane. That check-in is what keeps your stress levels down and controlled and makes you feel like, even though everything's going crazy around you, like, it's still you. You're still, like, checking in. You're making sure you're doing all right, and you're doing things to help all of the – you're controlling the things you can, because everything else going on around you are things you can't control. So start small, but stay consistent. Like, a daily practice is ideal in my book, even if it's a minute a day.
Okay, so let's start with, like, goals. People always are like, hey, I want to achieve my goals. What's the best way to start to achieve your goals so you don't feel overwhelmed?
I love this question. So when you think about goals, you think about your big goals, right? Lose 30 pounds, make this much money, get this promotion, get to the big leagues, whatever it is. You have that big goal. The second step is the most important step, right? We all know what our big goal is. That's fine. That's great. Have it. Post it somewhere. See it every day. But now you got to figure out how you're going to do that. And, like, you can break this down in a month, in a week, a day-to-day basis, right? But I think the most important part of goal setting is asking yourself, what can I do right now? In this very moment, while you're listening to the show, while you're driving, whatever you're doing, what could I do right now to get me one step closer to that goal, right? Could I get up and walk while I'm listening to the show? Could I do some exercises? Could I practice mindfulness and just be listening to the show instead of doing 8 other things at the same time, right? It's constantly coming back to, okay, I know what my goal is. What could I do right now that's going to get me one step closer to that goal? I love that question. I ask myself that question every single day because that's also a way to keep yourself accountable. Instead of just like, oh, yeah, 30 pounds, like,
right.
That's great. What can I do right now to do that, to get that done?
I liked your example. People should be making a goal of listening to the show, right? And then they could figure out all the other. I'm just kidding. But
yeah,
exactly. that is a good way for us, because I think everybody, especially in this day and age, and as you talked about with technology, we end up overwhelming ourselves with, oh, this is my goal, and then I've got to do this, and then I've got to do that, and you sort of lose track of who you are and what you're really trying to go after.
Mm-hmm. And I read this article the other day that said, especially like kids growing up, like the kids growing up are growing up with screens in front of their face. Like anytime they get distracted or whining or crying, people throw screens in front of their face. Like kids are being raised to not have a single thought by themselves.
Right.
Like, don't be alone. Like, always have these distractions. And I think that's such a disservice. And, like, we really do have to kind of stop and be like, hey, okay, yes, this is my goal. How am I doing with that goal? Where am I? Like, and it sounds like such a simple task, but if you think about it, like, how often do we stop and really check in? Like, it's rare because we're running around like crazy because that's what the world tells us we should be doing. don't stop, high stress, high pressure all the time. Like, well, no wonder we're obese. No wonder we're, anxiety is through the roof, depression, because we're never checking in and seeing how we're doing. So, I mean, it sounds simple, but checking in, that also pulls you into the present moment, because very rarely are we in the present moment either. We're too busy thinking about what's about to happen or what just happened in the past, and being in the present moment is your greatest gift. It's your greatest power. It's when you're at your all-time best, when you're in the present moment. Instead of thinking about what question am I going to ask next, what am I going to do, what am I going to say, it's let me listen, let me be in this moment, and trust that my knowledge and my skills will produce the question that I want to ask. But the question's going to be even better if I'm in this moment listening instead of just like going through the motions almost.
You are a mental skills rock star. She is Hannah Huesman. She's the mental skills coach for the Phillies. I'm surprised the Phillies don't have like 1 million world championships with you working there. You can follow her on Twitter. You're working at it, I know. You can follow her on Twitter at Hannah_Huesman. And you got to follow her on Instagram, the Mental Sweat Mondays, LinkedIn, everything. You're awesome. And I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Happy Super Bowl Sunday.
Who's going to win, Hannah?
Oh, gosh. I got to go with Brady. I'm just a Brady fan. Like, sorry, got to go with it.
He's got pretty good mental toughness.
I mean, are you kidding me? Let's go. I'm all for the mentally tough. Not that Mahomes doesn't, but
right.
I'm going with Brady.
All right. Thanks a lot. And that is Hannah Huesman, and we're definitely going to try to get Hannah back during the season while she is out with the Phillies. And I can't root for the Phillies, Rob. But
well, no, me neither.
But, I mean, she's awesome. That is this week's CEFCU Sunday Sit Down. CEFCU reminds you to protect yourself and be aware of scams. Make sure you check out your credit report, check your bank statements. Don't just think everything's going to be cool. Be an active participant in your finances. You can join CEFCU's Educators for a live online fraud seminar on fraud prevention. Go to CEFCU.com. This is Sunday Sports Buzz on 104.5 The Team ESPN Radio and the free 104.5 The Team app. And when Rob and I come back, we're going to hit the fan cave, and we're going to find out who Rob picks for the Super Bowl, who Charlie picks for the Super Bowl, right after this. You're listening to 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio.